Well, today's episode we're gonna have three reviews. The first one is going to be New Japan Strong with Ignition, where they begin the actual tournament for the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team titles. Now, this was something that was brought upon by Alex Kozlov. He said if we have tag team titles in Strong, it would definitely be a game changer. And apparently, as the old saying goes, ask and you shall deliver. So we're gonna have that. So they actually started with the first round matches on, let's say, Block A, but Block B possibly will be in the following week. And of course, we cannot forget ChocoPro 244, which was the last time we will see Baliyan Akki for 2 months. As you know, he will be on the U.S. tour, and of course, make sure you got to be a drama queen. Try to cry about it. But anyway, but also we cannot forget Jersey Championship Wrestling, the great uh, uh, American Birthday Bash or whatever. I think that's what it's called. With the main event being none other than the Japanese rising star Konosuke Takeshita taking on the wild hard ratty daddy himself, called Radrick. And of course, we got only two news updates that we're definitely going to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, let's begin with New Japan Strong with Ignition, which is the start of the first round of the Strong Openweight Tag Team titles. Now, this thing was brought upon by Alex Koslov not too long ago, where he talked about we need these tag team in New Japan Strong. I mean, it's something I think it needed because I feel we can't just depend on the Strong Openweight Championship that is currently now held by Fred Rosser. And I think this having the tag titles is a game changer right now. So we only have two matches involving this, and of course in a special match as well. So let's start with the first match. Well, first things first. Originally, in the opening rounds of these matches, um, Carl Fredericks was supposed to team up with the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, but however he got injured. He found himself a new tag team partner, and it turned out to be Yuya Uemura, which is very interesting. Now they will be in a match in the first round for the Strong Openweight Tag Team Titles tournament against the Factory. Now keep in mind the Factory have been causing a lot of stir with New Japan Strong. As you know, they believe that Shibata doesn't know how to produce wrestlers right because he thinks he builds the better wrestlers. But however, we've seen Yuya Uemura time and time again how much he has grown ever since arriving to the United States. But however, his tag team partner is no stranger to tag teams. As you know, he's been with multiple partners. We can go from AJ Styles to Frankie Kazarian, many others over the years. But I have to say, this was a very interesting. We have Nick Comoroto and Aaron Solo. Now, you could say who could be the fan favorite this one. I think many fans would say Yuya Uemura and Christopher Daniels. But one thing for sure, don't count out Daniels yet until he landed you with the best moonsault ever. And wow, what a great match to see that. So basically, Yuya Uemura and Christopher Daniels will be in the next round in the semifinals. But however, their opponents will be either West Coast Wrecking Crew, Nelson and Isaacs, or would it be TMDK, Haste and Nichols? We'll find out in a little bit. Now, our next match, speaking of TMDK, Jonah, on the other hand, is set to face against Tyler Russ. Now, this match was amazing. Now, you can say from your perspective in this type of match that Jonah's going to win. Yes, but what I did like is the effort of Tyler Russ, how he was able to take down the big guy. Now, you can say no way you can take down Jonah. In this case, it kind of felt like it did, and I was like impressed with the kicks he was doing when he did the Samoan drop. I was like, wow, that was a great. But however, sadly, it had to come to an end uh, until Jonah applied the tsunami, and it was like that. Now, our last match involving the Strong Openweight Tag Team Titles Tournament in Bracket A, we have West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jarrell Nelson, and Royce Isaacs. Now, these guys are one of the considered SoCal legends. Not legends, SoCal boys who know tag team better than anybody against TMDK, another team that has been familiarized. I didn't know how this was going to go, but man, this match was amazing because you can tell from the look of everybody when they see this. These two guys, teams, are determined to go to the next round because they felt like one of them has to be more deserving to win this tournament to get to the finals. And unfortunately, it ended with, of course, TMDK winning. I was like impressed by it. I thought the teamwork with TMDK was amazing, so I like that. So they picked up a good win. So they go to the semifinals to take on Daniels and Uemura. So we'll find out when that day happens, but we cannot forget we still got bracket B to go on in the first round. So I was going to assume that's going to happen next week. But I think right now let's just move on to our next review, which is ChocoPro 2444, or as we like to say, goodbye for now, Baliyan Akki. Okay, ChocoPro 244, aka goodbye for now, Baliyan Akki. So as you know, will be the last time we'll see Baliyan Akki for almost 2 months, as he's going to take a 2-month U.S. tour here. It's still no indication where is he going to go, but I'm going to presume that he's might going to stay in Florida with Amy Sakura. As you know, she is working here in the U.S., but I don't know if that's his plan. But he did state if anybody is interested in meeting him in whatever city he's going to be at, please welcome to stop by and say hi. So just throwing it out there for anybody who's fans of Baliyan Akki. Anyway, our first match. This one is a very interesting match. It may happen maybe once or twice. This one is more of a sort of a low-key death match. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you. This is where they have like these sort of small cupcakes, delicious. I don't know what they are, but amongst one of them is the soy sauce, the most spiciest one of them all. They have about at least 8 or 9 of those in a plate. If you pick the one with the soy sauce, you lose. In this particular match, it's between Sayaka Obihiro and Antonio Honda. Now, the only way this is going to happen if you have the 2 count. Basically, if the losing opponent gets the 2 count, they have to pick the first. They have to eat the little delicious cupcake thingy, and then all of a sudden see what happens. So, unfortunately, in the first time, Sayaka Obihiro fell to the 2 count, so she became number 1. And then as soon as it was done, she ate it. We waited to see if that was it. Luckily, she was safe. But in the next time, it became clear it was Antonio Honda had it. So he picked this. It was the one right in the middle. And then what happened? Presto, he loses. I'm like, wow. The moment he tasted it, he just bolted right away out of the chocolate square, because we had people over there and I thought it was so hilarious. I thought it was great. Wow. So anyway, moving on. Next up, we got singles tag team match. We got Tokiko Kirihara taking on the Tropical Wild Yuna Mizumori. This was a very good match, even though these two have teamed up, they have faced each other on multiple occasions. But I think this is the first time you get a feeling of them in the ring with people around because, since ChocoPro only operated with no people for 2 years, I thought it was great. But it was Yuna Mizumori who picked up the victory when she did a splash right on top of Tokiko in order to bouncing off the wall to pick up the win. Now for our main event, we got Chiko Ishikawa teaming up with the legend Kaori Yonoyama to take on the Best Bros. The final time we'll see them. So I have to say this is going to be a very good match because we don't know how. I think this is where let's just enjoy the match and feel what's gonna be like. Because the thing is this, we really want to see Baliyan Akki win and leave ChocoPro while he's in his 2-month excursion with the win. And I thought it was pretty great, and I was so impressed with this match. Not to mention, I think Baliyan Akki allowed for May to do her little devilish work. If you guys don't know, she likes to do dirty tactics. Well, not that dirty, but more like tactics that you normally wouldn't think she would do, but she did. But it did help. And of course, the double teamwork that they did on Chiko Ishikawa helped them to pick up the victory. But in the post match, May Shiriga started crying. He's like, "Why are you crying?" I thought it was great. I mean, he hasn't just left yet. It's like he's still in Japan, but it's great. Now, for our last time, the Jokin tournament. Now, I would have assumed Baliyan Akki would win it. Unfortunately, no. Neither did May. But the person who did was Yuna Mizumori until she got to finals. And wow, it was great. But of course, we cannot forget how this thing ends. There's a tradition that they do in Japan where they send off the wrestlers either when they graduate or go on their little excursion, where everybody had grabbed each other's hand, do like a little thingy like they do in weddings, and that's what happened. I thought it was great, and of course, May continues to cry. But as you know, this is not the end. We know Baliyan Akki will be returning. We just don't know when, but hopefully we can get to catch up. If you guys have him on Twitter, please follow him. You probably will enjoy where he's going to be at. So I know where I'm gonna keep following him where he's gonna go. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I think let's do our last review, which is Jersey Championship Wrestling, or JCW. I think we're doing. I think this one is the Great American Birthday Bash. But yeah, so let's do that right now. Okay, our last review, Jersey Championship Wrestling, the a Great American Birthday Bash. This took place on the 10th of July recently. So let's start our first match. We have Axton Ray versus Speedball Mike Bailey. I thought this match was pretty good because thing is, whenever you see Mike Bailey, you know this is going to be awesome. Like not like no other match you would ever see because as you know, people say he feels like he is making up for lost time after those 5 years that he was unable to wrestle here in the U.S. And I thought it was great until he pulled off the ultimate weapon onto Axton Ray, giving him the win. Now our next match is the GCW Tag Team titles on the line. We got the challengers Edith Surreal and Delirious to take on Bussy. That's right, folks, Bussy, Effie, and Alley Catch. Now this is a very good match because I do like Bussy, how they really cooperate with each other. However, the way that it ended becomes clear. The Delirious did not like how it ended because they could have won the match, but it did not because it was Alley Catch who pulled it off. I think it was Alley, I'm not sure. But yes, it was great. But I wasn't too much hyped for the match that well because, I always enjoy like really tough competitors who really, really want to take those titles from them. But yeah. Now, Our next match, I have to say, is one of the best matches ever. We have Billy Starks versus the Prodigy, Nick Wayne. But also, coincidentally, this particular day was his birthday. So it's happy birthday to you. But they asked him this obvious question. According to the commentators before this match ever took place, he said, "What do you want for your birthday present?" And this is what he said: "I want to wrestle Billy Starks." I was like, wow, I didn't expect that from him. But like the old saying goes, ask and it will be delivered. So I have to say it was a pretty amazing match. I was like impressed by both of them. Not because, it was an intergender match. I think this is more of like we have two young rising wrestlers, who are hungry or determined to reach to the top. I think that's what tells us the whole thing. But it was in fact Billy uh, Billy Starks with the Okada roll who picked up the victory onto Nick Wayne, and of course we cannot forget happy birthday. So I have to say it was pretty good. Now our next match is a three-way match between three women. This kick demon Janai Kai, Lindsay Snow, and Masha Slamovich. Now this is going to be one of those tough matches. It's going to be good. It's going to be busting your brains up. I can hear like how things were going crazy, but it was in fact Masha Slamovich who picked up a very good victory by pinning Janai Kai. I thought it was great. Now our next match, we were supposed to have Tony Deppen to be in this one, but however, apparently he was unable to compete. His opponent for that night, Alec Price, was not happy, but however, he even pleaded with Brett Lauderdale to give him someone better, someone who is high profile. And what he got is 187 homicide. So that must have been one of the biggest shocker. But oh man, the match was good too. I was like, as you know, we know Alec Price is talented. We know he's cocky, obnoxious, absurd. But when it comes to homicide, oh man, he's gonna try to give you a beat down of a lifetime. There was a moment where he completely lost control, like he was trying to put down homicide, but it didn't work. But homicide was the one who put the Gringo Killer on him and many other things, but it did help him to pick up a good win against Alec Price. So better luck next time, kid. Now our next match, we have a bunkhouse speedway match, and they get this glass hat or whatever it is. There were a lot of people involved. We had like one Commanders, members of Young, Dumb, and Broke. But the one thing that was interesting was, pardon my language, fucking Charles Mason, the root of all evil, attacked Yoya. The reason he attacked Yoya, he thinks is a load of BS. That he gets involved in the bunkhouse speedway match, in a speed match, a stampede match, instead of him. He feels like I'm more deserving, so he took him out. Not to mention, he stays somehow all the way to the match until he took out Manders. But however, Yoya showed up, gave him an ass beating, and he was eliminated. And I don't think Charles Mason saw that coming, because Yoya was already on his way to the ring until he tried to choke him out. But Yoya got his revenge against Charles Mason. But what do I get the feeling Charles Mason's not going to forget this day, because he feels that it should have been him. Now our next match, this is a good one. We got the debut of Los Hermanos Lee, Dralistico, and Dragon Lee to take on Space Goose, ASF, and Gringo Loco. I thought this match was unbelievably good because it's lucha libre rules. You know how that is. There's a lot of high flying, a lot of spots. You wouldn't believe anything until it's over. But I was, of course, Dragon Lee who picked up the victory, giving the win for Los Hermanos. And I'm sure fans would love to see them come back. I know for a fact if I was over there, I would have said the same thing. Now, for our next match, our main event, we got the Japanese rising star, Konosuke Takeshita, taking on Ratty Daddy Wildheart, Cold Radrick. Now, I thought this match was awesome because, we've seen how Cold Radrick is when he's in the ring with his opponents. But he's facing a guy who has, not royalty, but more a much bigger recognition than most people would. So I think that tells us a lot because, thing is, imagine every promotion around the country would want to have him because, he is really good. Been training, started wrestling at 16 years old, and I thought it was amazing. But one thing I did anticipate was he was going to do the jumping knee strike. Radrick saw that, but it doesn't take too many times until he get it right. And then, boom, he got it, initial it, and Konosuke Takeshita picked up a good victory. I have to say, it was an unbelievable match. I think I enjoyed it much. There's still more to come about Konosuke Takeshita while he's in this expedition. But I believe right now we should end it right here with the reviews and move on to our last thing we're going to do, and it's, of course, news updates. Okay, so we only have two news updates here that we're going to talk about. The first one is coming from Just Tap Out, or as we call it, GTO, which is TAKA Michinoku's promotion. Now, for an upcoming event that takes place in September on the 12th, got the attention of many fans and various people. Amongst them is a very unusual tag team match that was booked by TAKA Michinoku. Now, this match involves, of course, Tomoka Inaba and her tag team partner who she teams up on various occasions. AOI, I think that's the name, hopefully I got it right. They take on Maika and Mirai. Now, I know what you guys thinking for all you Stardom fans when I mention that name. They're saying, wait a minute, J-Rod. Aren't those two in different units? True. Let's talk about that. Now, there is a reason why into this madness of the thinking of TAKA Michinoku. It turns out Tomoka Inaba and Mirai they were trainees when Taka was involved with Kaientai. Remember, Kaientai was the thing he started the Kaientai dojo until he was forced out due to his alleged affair that took place and started Just Tap Out. So that explains the history. But since then, and Just Tap Out was formed, Tomoka became real close to Maika. So basically, it's like this. According to him, that Tomoka Inaba and Mirai were in sync with each other because they were training together. And it makes a lot of sense. And the same thing with Mirai. But however, these are two people in Tomoka's past that were important to her. The thing is this. I view Tomoka as the little sister to Maika in certain aspects. Because if you guys saw her recent her last appearance in Stardom when she faced Hana for the future belt, Maika was her second, being there, giving her support and all that. So I felt like that. But I said this to myself this one time during that time, even though I never said it, I said, why do I get the feelings that Tomoka, once she's done with Just Step Out, she might join DDM? That was good to my head. But yeah, so that's the reason to this tag team match being booked. It makes sense. But I think Taka has a real interesting strategy when it comes to this. Now, speaking of DDM, as you all know, word has been buzzing all over social media. People still talk about it, and people won't stay quiet. We saw what happened at Midsummer Champions. Natsupoi betray Julia and DDM in order to join Cosmic Angels. So, the obvious question does remain is this. Now, a lot of it I will talk about this on my podcast and on the discussion video that I will do very soon. When will Natsupoi make her first appearance as a member of Cosmic Angels? Well, that has already been announced. It's going to take place on July 14th, which is this Thursday in Japan local time over there. So I'm kind of curious to see how this would go, because it was a bit shocking what we saw. I mean, I know many fans were not anticipate this move one way or the other, but I know there's a lot of questions involved about how this is going to go. But like I said, I will bring this up on the next discussion video and on the podcast that I will do some point later on this week. So be patient. So if you guys have me on podcasts, it's DWZ Podcast with J-Rod. So you will find me there. So we'll talk about that as soon as possible. So I think that's pretty much it right now with our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. I know I have, because, to be honest with you, I still couldn't stop talking or thinking about what happened with Natsupoi turning against Julia and DDM. I still am processing it, because I mentioned time and time again, I'm a fan of the Cosmic Angels, and I probably, some of you probably tell me I need to shut up about it. I don't think I will. But anyway, for our next episode, we will have, of course, review on certain events that I might have missed. There's still those I'm determining to watch. I'm thinking about a recent DDT event that took place on the 3rd of July. The latest Wrestling Revolver, where we saw the Switchblade something, the reunion between both Sami Callihan and Jon Moxley. And of course, we have the latest GCW event. And of course, we cannot forget AEW Dark Elevation. And of course, we got some interesting news updates that I'm definitely going to share with everybody what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.